and welcome to Get Strong and Prosper with Coach Meg Walker. And today is a very special episode on the Berlin Marathon. And you know, if it's a world major marathon, I have my co-host for these episodes. It is Mr. David Yim, Mr. Major Marathon himself. Hello, my friend.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. See, I have to, for these episodes, you have to be called a co-host. We can't be calling you a guest this many years in for
Do you
these
know what?
episodes.
We've done so many of these episodes now, and it's great to see so many people coming back to us and saying, you're releasing these episodes earlier so we can actually have you on the long runs because that's
Yeah,
when we really need to do our race prep. And people listen to it two or three times, maybe even more, just to
crazy.
get the detail, which is great because one thing we said we were going to do when we started doing this, and remember, it was that London Marathon episode
Yeah.
that we did, and we said we
Mm,
would just wanted to create a resource for people to refer to. And over time, I know that we've done, refreshes of the episodes, and there's another little tweak this year to the Berlin Marathon.
yeah.
But it's great to be able to just give people the updated information as these races evolve over time and be able to share some of our most recent experiences with how the course has been and how the race and the event was put together. So I think it's great to be back on and always happy to help as many runners as we can.
Yeah, I love it. And I actually do want to take time quickly to say thank you so much to all the people that do reach out to us
Yeah,
about these episodes. We were discussing before starting recording. I had actually a good handful of questions from you all as well. And it's so helpful when we hear from you what you loved, what you'd like to hear more of, because we love doing these episodes. As Yimmy said, like our whole desire with this is it's our way of giving back to the running community.
yeah.
And we want you to enjoy and make your own memories and have the best experience possible. And if we can maybe either save you on a few tricks and turns that we might have liked to have known when we started, you be shaking his head. You'll see if you're on the YouTube. He's like, yeah, wished I'd had some of these tips.
Yeah, totally.
Um,
Totally. I mean, the race prep bit and doing your homework before you go and do the race, I think is just such an important part of racing and making sure that you know what to expect on the day. And there have been so many people who've reached out to me to say, I've been listening to you on my long run, and it's great to know what to expect. And even though you're brutally honest, and we are,
yeah,
we share our experiences not to scare people, but to just make sure that people are aware of what to expect on the day so that they can manage it in their own heads. And that can be a difference between having an amazing time at an event versus just crashing out and feeling like the whole world's collapsed on you when you're racing and you don't know what's going on and you get frustrated. And but just knowing that actually, you know where the next water station is going to be, knowing where the tough parts of the course are going to be, so you know they're coming up, so you mentally prepare for them, where the easy bits of the course are, where the support's going to be, where the relief is going to be. That's all helpful stuff that will serve you well if you know that before you go into the race.
absolutely. And I know a few people as well, really appreciated the contrast where when we do share our personal anecdotes, Yimi and I have done literally the exact same race on the same
Races,
year
yeah,
and had completely different experiences. We've gone and done the same race on different years and
yeah,
different experiences. So we always encourage you to listen with an open mind. There's always going to be some cold, hard facts in there that you need to know for that year's race, but also be open-minded about, what we're sharing is often parts of it is our experience. Doesn't mean it's going to be yours, but if we can save you, some errors along the way, but also get you excited to have
yeah,
your own. And
100%.
yeah, I think people appreciate seeing actually live. Oh, okay. It really can depend on each person too, and I can have my own completely different experience. So
And do you know what? We don't plan these
we don't.
anymore. We just
People are
we
like,
just
we
get
can
online and
tell.
talk about it. And because this is my fifth, I can't believe it, my fifth Berlin Marathon.
Incredible. I'm kind of sad because for a good we've been doing this so long for a good few years. Yimmy's Berlin. Berlin Marathon wristbands, which will tell you all about what's going up his arm. But we've got so many now. It was turning into a sleeve.
And do you know, here they are. If you're on
Look at that.
YouTube, I mean, I haven't
Beautiful.
thrown them away, of
Of
course
course
not,
you
right?
haven't.
And I did say on last year's episode, I was listening to it on one of my long runs earlier in the summer and having a good old giggle. And I did say that I had committed to cutting off my Berlin Marathon wristbands,
And he's true to his word.
and I didn't cut them off. I have to say it was Diger who cut them off, and she did give me this bracelet, which is really nice. This is one of those marathon bracelets with little mini medals.
It's beautiful. If anyone's new to listening to our episodes, Diger is one of Yimmy's running partners. She's an absolute legend, and that's beautiful. I love that.
We've run our she ran her 50th race in Riga this year,
What a queen.
and I had an absolute queen, and I had the absolute honor and privilege of sharing that whole experience with her.
I love that.
But I remember running Chicago, Berlin and Chicago and New York with her last year. Um, and she gifted me this bracelet, which is actually, it hasn't got all my race medals on here. These are all the ones we've run together. And
I love
um
that.
and it's just a special thing. In order to put this on, I did say let's cut these off. So
There we go.
she did
And
say
he was
she
running out of space, ladies and
while I
gentlemen.
was running out of space,
It was becoming a sleeve.
the real estate was running out on my wrist. So I have taken these off. Diker did say you need to burn these, and I haven't. So
Never.
they can go over there.
Never, never, never. So, yes, thank you for joining us. There'll be plenty of anecdotes in the episode, but also plenty of facts. It's important to mention too, whether you're listening on YouTube or you're listening on podcast, you can just jump chapters, everybody. We try and
Yeah,
please everyone, but we get a lot of people saying they love the chat in between. If you're someone who wants to go straight to the facts, use the chapters, my friends, and we'll all be happy.
absolutely.
So let's crack on with this year's race. So this year's race, it's 2026. Hopefully you're in the same time year as us, and it's Sunday, the 27th of September. It will be it always says start and finish near Brandenburg Gate, but obviously you come back to the same start
It's a
point.
loop race. Yeah, it's a loop race, and it's on, Strasse 17 Juni, which
Mhm.
is the long drag between the Brandenburg Gate and all the way to the Victory Column. And it's one of the two loop races out of the eight. Need to get
Mhm.
this number right. The eight marathon majors that we have now. And I think that we always start these episodes by reminding ourselves of our three words for this,
Yeah.
and got this disastrously wrong last year. So I'm going to say this really slowly. It is flat,
Yeah, don't
flat.
get me into, please don't get me into trouble with those captions on Instagram.
It's not fat. It's flat, fast, and efficient are our agreed. We actually agreed on the words for this one.
We did, which that speaks volumes for this race. And I say they say it starts in the same place and ends because it's true. That is a fact.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you about this when I did it. I felt like because they are so efficient and change things around. I feel like even though you're geographically in the same place, I feel like I'm in somewhere else. I think just because the start line's so buzzy, and then you go into that you're kind of in that exciting start area. When I get back, I always feel like it's a different place, but it's the same.
No, Meg, you've just run 26.2 miles. You're just a different
Probably.
person.
So just to say, the actual fact is it does start and finish in the
It
same
does,
place as
yeah.
the loot race, but for me, it feels like a completely different experience. So please let
It
me know if I'm not on my own.
love it.
I think that's just because I just turn and look the other way. Because you're looking at the with the dome and all of that jazz. I'm concentrating on that, whereas at the start, I'm ready for the start line.
You've had a wholesome experience. You've come back a different person.
I
The place
have.
is the same. You're just different.
Yeah, everyone's like, the place isn't different. You're
No,
different,
you
Meg.
changed.
You've changed. You've not started and finished the same person. So let
Exactly.
me know if Berlin Marathon has changed you. I think last year we'll talk a little very briefly. Last year was a very hot experience. I think a lot of people came back changed,
Oh,
maybe
you know
not for the
what?
better
I
last
I
year.
the Berlin Inferno, I called this
Mhm.
one last year, Meg, and we can talk about the weather at the end
Yeah.
and how to manage that. But very briefly, just to say, it started at 25 degrees last year and it peaked at 29 degrees during the race. And, you've just got to be prepared for anything on these races.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Not start because it's too warm, And I think that one thing we do need to talk about, let's do it at the end, is
Hmm.
talk about how these races are becoming hotter and hotter and hotter. I don't think I've had a cool race for a while now.
No, unfortunately, any race you did with me, we joke about
You,
Yimmy and I bring heat wave I even did it with New York in November. I seem to have this thing where I bring heat wave races. So Yimmy, unfortunately, has suffered from that whenever he's done the same race as me every
what
time.
is it with you? Every time it's you, London last year, bloody hot. It was
I know.
you,
I
right?
know, but it's something, unfortunately, it seems to have spread because we're now getting hot races everywhere. Important to message, actually, something very quick I'll mention that I've talked with my clients a lot about is, especially in the UK, the weather has been unprecedented. We'll talk about it
Mm,
for the race at the end, but in the UK, we used to have a few hot weeks and then some respite. Last year broke the record for heat. This year has been a
yeah,
different level. Anyone who's listening, please give yourself some grace. I'm hearing, a lot of people are trying to compare their training to last year, which we're always a different person in different circumstances anyway. But this has been an unprecedented time and everyone is trying to work it out. You cannot show up the same like you do with your training. It's hard enough
that's it.
managing it around life, but particularly this summer, it's really tough. So if you're being hard on yourself about times, because this is coming out soon, right? And people are at the back end of their training. I just want you
Mm,
to hear this and give yourself a bit of grace. If you've been finding things quite tough, you've been finding with the heat, please know it is a huge challenge for everyone.
yeah,
And it's stuff I'm making a lot of notes because I think this is going to be very frequent for us now for summers. And you just please look at this year as a big adjustment year for
yeah,
everyone because we're figuring it out. Training
yeah.
in summer for us in the UK has not been the same as normal.
No, no,
So
totally agree. Um, shall we talk about the expo for Berlin?
let's talk about it. The Brita Expo.
New sponsor for the expo, Brita.
Yeah, exactly. What I was really pleasantly surprised because I went to go look because I was like, is this turned into another running show? But it stayed as the
No,
expo.
it's
I
the
was
expo.
surprised. But it is the Brita Expo.
And the best thing about this expo
Yes.
is back at the Tempelhof.
Yes, I'm so excited. I was telling you updated me on this actually, because I was telling my client about it. I was like, it's such a shame. Since last year, they've moved it to a new venue and Tempelhof was great. And she was disappointed and it's back now. So no
I,
worries.
do you know what? I'm glad it's back. I
Me
mean,
too.
Messe was a different experience, and in to my mind, it was. In my opinion, the venue was great. It had this big sort of like circular building. It was obviously a conference center, purpose built rather than a repurposed old airport. And you went into it, and the bib pickup was really, really easy, but it was almost like in an ante hall. And then you walk through this tunnel, and you were in a set of four halls,
Yeah.
and in my own experience, it was just the way it was set out was just it didn't flow at all.
Yeah.
So you always ended up back in the same hall, and you think, and then you got a bit of FOMO about, oh, have I been in this hall? Yes or no? And then you recognize that you've actually been in the same hall for an hour and a half, and it was just vast,
Like a
and
room
it
of mirrors.
it was just weird. You felt like you were at the circus or something. And with the Tempelhof, it's easy because you start off at the beginning, you walk through the old check-in hall, which is beautiful. It's stunning.
Hmm.
And the bag drop, you can there's a luggage place to leave your luggage, and they can take small bags,
Yeah.
rolly cases, standard rolly cases that you take on aircraft. That's fine. They won't take the big
Yeah,
suitcases
I
because
think
that's
you can
just too
pay a
big.
small fee to go put it in a baggage area.
Yeah, exactly that. And you just leave your bags in the maximum, the large bags are not allowed. They won't let you take those in just because of space. And you walk through the old check-in hall, you walk down the stairs, you turn right and you turn left, and then you're into the sort of like the back end, the halls where they have the actual expo. And I hope they do what they did for the last couple of years, where it's been at the Tempelhof, is they moved the bib collection to right at the beginning.
Yes, it's so helpful.
Oh, it's
I love
so
that
much
London
better.
does that too. It's just
Yeah,
slap bang,
it just
off you go. Yeah.
and actually all the majors, you find that the bib thing comes early on, if not right at the beginning. New
Yeah.
York, you go in before you go into New Balance. In London, you go in there before you go into New Balance. Here again, it's the same. The first thing that you get, we joked about it earlier, and I am bringing it back to show on
If
people
you're
who
on
are watching
YouTube,
this on
amazing.
YouTube. The first thing you get before you even collect your bib is you walk into the participants queue, because remember, this is open to the public,
Yeah.
right? So if you're a participant, the first thing you get is your heat sealed. You show your QR code and your passport, and the first thing you do is you get your wristband,
Yeah.
and this thing's heat sealed onto your wrist, and it's actually your ticket to the start line area is this wristband. So the first bit of advice we always give is do not take this wristband off until
Absolutely.
after the race, because you cannot get into the security area without this particular wristband. And I do the sports tours international runners
Yeah.
briefings. Every single year, Meg. There was 800 in the hall last year again. And I always say, and I hold up my wrist and I say, do not take this thing off. And I said, has anyone taken the wristband off? And you get a couple of hands that are like,
Cheers.
no, I did. My bad. And I said, but not a problem. You just have to go back to Tempelhof and get another wristband put on. Take the one that you've taken
Yeah.
off with you and show them. And because without this, you won't get in.
Yeah. So my additional advice with that to help you with that is when you put it on, make sure they give it with so it's comfortable. All right.
Yes.
Don't put it on and you're cutting off your circulation and thinking, great, I'll take it off in an hour. I can't tell you how many people do this. Make sure you put it on so you've got a little bit of wiggle room. You don't want it falling off, but you want it comfortable. And
That
that's going to help you keep it on.
that's top drawer advice, that is, because I had four on last year,
Yeah.
and I kind of felt like if I didn't turn them around enough or put them in the right place, it was cutting off the circulation to my wrist.
Yeah,
And I wear two watches on race day.
of course. Two
People
what
did
you
ask
know.
me actually, Yimmy, why do you wear two watches on race day? And the answer is actually the Berlin Marathon is actually a really good example of why.
Hmm.
And it's because you know that anyone who follows me on Instagram at Short Fat Guy Runs the Majors knows that I do mile by mile dedication videos for
Hmm.
people who've inspired me, supported me, sponsored me, etc. And uh, just people in the running community who've inspired me. And one year I was running with Emily from Young Lives versus Cancer, and
Hmm.
I forgot my second watch. Now, the whole course in Berlin and the European races, and actually the Sydney race, right, measured in kilometers.
Yeah.
So I spent the whole race doing my 1.6 times table in my in my head, trying to work out where on earth I was
Like,
because I
when he said dedication videos, he meant it. The maths that went into that.
there was a lot of commitment there. And I was like, doing, and in the end, I think I got to about 25 kilometers, and I ended up having just to do my phone and just do a quick 25 divided by 1.61 each time, just to go, oh, which mile am I in now, sort of thing. And then trying to work out, oh my God, it was just such hard work. So that's why I wear two watches. But it was getting to the point where I couldn't actually get my watch on a comfortable place on my wrist because I had so many wristbands on. So the big tip, do not take off the wristband till after the race. And that's the first thing you
Absolutely.
get when you get to the expo. And then it's a few halls that then follow with all the merch, etc. And you can shop to your heart's content. If you're a merch magpie like me, then
Yeah.
I've got the worst merchitis, right? I see it and I want it and I buy
It's a
it.
disease. There's no cure. There's no cure. We've
However,
seen
last
several doctors.
there is no cure. I mean,
Yeah.
I have now graduated from having one drawer to two drawers to half a cupboard to a full cupboard of just running jackets and stuff. And it's like, last year I didn't buy the Berlin jacket. I was very good, although it was very, very
It
nice.
was. He sniffed it, he walked around it, he took selfies with it, but he left it on there. He left it on there.
I was sad that I didn't buy the blue t-shirt of the t-shirt that I'm wearing. Yeah, this is
But I
the
know
finished
what's going to
shirt.
happen. You're going to go and you're going to be like, I was really good last year, I didn't get a jacket. So that means two jackets. It was like your fallow year.
Oh no, I'm trying to be better and I'll always go for the finisher t-shirt, but I have already got two Berlin jackets and I don't really need another one. However, I will say, and I think I said it in the episode last year, the jacket was so nice last year because the Adidas design, not the Adidas,
Adidas, yeah.
the Adidas design was the same as the Boston one, where there was this little strap inside the left pocket.
You love this,
Oh,
didn't you?
I think it's brilliant. I think it's the best design thing ever. And you can take the jacket off and you can turn the whole thing inside out and stuff it into the pocket, and you've got a pack a Mac.
Remarkable.
So
Remarkable. I do love a Packamac riff. Like 90s eat your heart out. I will
I
always
mean,
love a Packamac.
come on, I can even put it on my belt and take it to work. And if it starts to rain slightly, I can put on my Berlin jacket, you know?
I love that you're pretending like you don't have that already at the go, no matter whether it's a Packamac or not. But nice try.
I might have done that with my Boston jacket. Yeah, not saying.
Exactly. Exactly. Certainly. But it's such good. Let's see. I'll be excited to see what it's got to offer this year.
Excited that it's back at the Tempelhof because I think it's a much better flow. You've got three or four halls of merch. All the big names are there. Adidas are obviously the main apparel sponsor for the race. BMW is the main title sponsor, but
Yeah.
the clothing sponsor is Adidas and has been forever. I think that the quality of the stuff is there. It was like a zoo in the Adidas concession last year. So make
Yeah.
sure you spend time and just have a bit of patience.
Hmm.
I think it took me 45 minutes the last time I was at Tempelhof and I actually bought something. It took me 45 minutes to actually get through the queues. So there is an option to pre-order stuff.
Yes, I saw that.
So that's worth doing. If you want to, if you know you're going to get the finisher shirt, whatever the design is, then just pre-order it. It'll be in your bag. So you go through, you get your wristband, then it's the bib collection. The bib collection, you can go to any desk, which is brilliant. You do need your QR code, your start card, or your
Hmm.
QR code, which you can actually download to your phone. I always say do that anyway. Screenshot your QR code.
Yeah, just make life easier for yourself.
Yeah, just so that if you don't have internet connection or whatever, you've actually got it. They will see your pass. They want to see your passport. They do check it at the Berlin Marathon. The best thing about it is that you can go to any desk.
Yeah.
You can go to any desk where it's because they live print your bib for you. And as we've said, it's been for a couple of years now. They do put your locator, your transponder tag
Hmm.
on your bib now. So it's live printed. They put the transponder on,
Which,
as
yeah,
we always
we were
say.
hoping for that for so long. It's been such a
It's
blessing.
so good. It is a quite a big bib though. It's one of the biggest bibs.
Yeah, the shape of it too.
Yeah, it's really wide and it's quite tall as well. So just be prepared for that. And you know, you pick up your bib and within your bag, you'll get the bag if you get a bag with your bib in. With the bib in,
Mhm.
and then you'll get your pins, and then you walk over to another desk and you pick up your pre-ordered goods, so your
Yeah, if you
t-shirts,
ordered any,
etc.
yeah. Which includes your clothing drop, which we know normally is the bag drop.
Yeah,
But if you
totally.
have gone to do the clothing drop, that will be there. Berlin's actually one of the few races, we say the same for Chicago. It's actually one of those where the clothing drop, the bag drop is actually worth it because it's a circular race. Some of the others we're actually like, really think about whether it's worth it. We won't know names today, but
Yeah.
with Berlin, it is actually one that, yeah, it's easy enough to do. It's worth doing, worth your time, but it's called the clothing drop.
Your bag will be where you left it at the end of the day. We'll talk about
Such a
that in the start
blessing.
line area. Do you want to talk about the opening hours for the
Yeah, we'll talk
expo?
about the opening hours. So the opening hours are Thursday, September 24th, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, the 25th of September, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And Saturday, the 26th of September, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Make sure that you're getting there at least half an hour
Yeah,
before the closing time so you actually have time to get your bib because they'll be winding that stuff down beforehand. What I
100%.
would say with the bib is, so in terms of time slots. Now, they have introduced something recently where they've introduced a reserving system if you want. So if you actually want to book a time slot for the race, again, hit and miss really whether I don't think it makes much of a difference, but it is there if you want to do that and you like to have some clarity and have that planned, you can do it. And
Yeah,
the start card, if we hadn't already, I can't remember if we mentioned it already, but that will be 7 to 10 days before the event they send
yeah,
that. Just because if you're listening to this, there'll be questions. So don't panic that you haven't got it. It will come
yeah,
seven
yeah,
to 10 days
yeah.
before.
And remember, this is like all except one of the majors. You have to collect your own bib
Yeah,
in person. You can't nominate someone. London's the only one where you can nominate somebody to collect your bib on your behalf. All of the other majors, it's collect your own bib. And if you're running the Generali 5K, you
yep,
also have to pick up the bib on the Friday because there's no option to pick it up on the Saturday before you, because the expo only opens at 9, but you won't have enough time to then get to Potsdamer Platz, where the start of the race is. So you have to pick that up on the Friday.
absolutely. And I always there'll always be one, so we have to say it. You cannot pick it up on the Sunday.
Yeah, there's no.
We've said the dates and that it's Saturday, but you cannot get it at the start of the event. So you have to get it
That's
by
right.
Saturday. It's always important to say. And we often get asked as well about what's the best day. Typically, Thursday or Friday morning is usually the least queues. Friday afternoon and the whole of Saturday is usually the most crowded.
Well, Thursday it's only open from 3 p.m. So, and that is, I don't know why people have this massive rush to go and be the first ones to collect their bibs. Maybe people are wanting to go after work and get it out of the way,
I think
etc.
that's just our nature. It's like people that are rushed to get on a plane. I'm like, it's not that we're all leaving at the same time.
Is going to, well, I'd say the slight difference there is the people who then take up real estate
I guess
with the
with the
bags.
overhead, I guess that. But I think that, but people's aim, I think it is kind of similar, and people think I'll get the merch before it sells out. I think that's part of it.
That's probably what it is. But hey, it's Berlin here. It's not Tokyo,
Yes.
right? So there's plenty of merch. They do bring out the sizes continuously, especially in the Adidas stand. And there's tons and tons and tons of other stuff. I remember in previous years, Hoka have been there, Ultra there. All the big brands, all the
I
recognizable
think they,
brands.
I'm not sure about this year, but they have in the past also had like Erdlinger, which is
Yeah,
the alcohol-free sponsor.
they're
Sometimes they have a stand.
Erdinger's always there, so you can
Erdinger, that's it.
sample. Yeah, Erdinger, you can sample the alcohol-free beer, which you get a cup of at the end. It used to be bigger, and now it's smaller.
Yeah, God, it's the life is really hitting everyone, isn't it?
First world problem. Sorry, sorry, but just an
No,
observation,
but it's
right?
it's true. What I'm saying, even the sponsors are getting smaller. We're all feeling it. It's like, come on, 26.2 miles for this. Fill the glass, my friend. Fill the
Just
glass.
to fill it up, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
you can. I'd say in terms of the times when it's less busy, Friday mornings are generally quite good. Friday lunchtime onwards, quite busy. But I usually land sort of like Friday mid-afternoon. I dump my bag at the hotel and I go to the expo. I have actually gone straight from the airport to the expo before. And Friday evenings is actually quite quiet,
Good tip
which
there.
is a good time to go. Saturdays are always going to be
Yeah, the
busy
whole day is going to be
the whole
same for the
day. I
expos.
mean,
Yeah.
unless there's some people who went and but the people who are doing the Generali 5K will have not have, they've picked up the bib on the Friday, so they're not there on the Saturday. So maybe first thing on a Saturday morning is
That's a
quite a
really
good time to
important
go.
point. Yeah, if you're doing the Generale, you have to go. You can't go on Saturday. You need your
Yeah.
bib.
Yeah, you just not got enough time to get
Yeah.
from Tempelhof to Potsdamer Platz.
Yeah, but so that was we were delighted that it's back at Tempelhof. It's also one of like the tourist spots of Berlin as well. So it's nice. It's one of the few places that has like a little bit of like history to the place too. So it's
It,
nice.
it it's so good. I mean, you have the option of paying for the food there.
Yeah, the
The
catering, I saw that. Yeah, that's a
the
new thing.
the pasta thing's quite good actually. It does say there are options, but it is fairly limited. But if you can prepay for the pasta thing, that's quite good because it's convenient and it's fairly tasty actually.
Yeah, and
But
they do meat, vegetarian, and vegan. So
100%. I think that the only thing I wouldn't recommend is the pre-race massage.
yeah. Oh, our relationship with massages at Berlin. I'm so fond of it.
I mean, we can talk about the on-course massage facility a bit later,
Yeah.
but you can pay 20 euros for a 15-minute massage. And they bring in the physio students from all over the country to go and staff this thing, and they get a bit of practice. But mine was, if you're a seasoned, having gone for sports massages and stuff,
Yeah.
it's literally just a bit of conditioning before you do the race. And maybe I should have had that as an expectation. But mine was, well, the one time I had it, it was literally somebody tickled me for 15 minutes.
Yeah. But I appreciate it. It's kind of same with like with the boots, to be honest. But at least I think you've got more likelihood of getting a massage. Sometimes with they have the compression boots at these expos and the queues are very, very long. It's free, but you could be waiting all day.
Yeah, you could be
So
waiting a long, long time. So don't spend too much time on your feet.
yeah.
As we've said, there were the boots were there last year, but the queues were very, very long. You've got other marathons who are exhibiting, so I think some of the European marathons had the stands there as well to try and get you to sign up to their races too. Remember, there are other really good races out there aside from the majors. And so they have their stands there as well. I think New Balance were even there last year as well.
Yeah, they've got some excellent
Mm,
sponsors. And also important to add, in terms of connections to getting to the expo, the one of the main subway lines to do that is U6, and you go on
yeah,
the U-Bahn, and
U-Bahn.
that's Platz der Luftbrücke. And then that's approximately 10-minute walk once you get there. And then you can also get there's a few buses that you can get there as well. So bus line M43 to Columbia Dam, and then you've also got Platz der Luftbrücke, or you can
Yeah.
get the bus line 248 to U-Platz der Luftbrücke. So essentially, you're going to Platz der Luftbrücke is what you're looking out for, and it's
S-
about bus or U-Bahn. It's about 10-minute walk.
Speaking of public transport, Meg,
Yes,
you,
this is no
you,
update, right? If you're going to
no, no,
say
no, we had it
that.
last year as well, which was that your bib is also your free transport ticket.
It is, but is was last year were they this generous?
I
Because
think they were, yeah.
this is super generous, to be honest. I think it's a huge thing. So you actually get a 4-day ticket just for you as a participant, whether you're doing the marathon or, of course, you've got the exciting inline skating the day before. But in fair zones A, B, and C, you get a 4-day ticket but you have to have your bib. So this is a really good time to say, do not lose your bib. Whatever you do, don't let it out of your sight. That is
You,
like your child.
we say this every year, right? Meg turns up to the race with her bib looking like it's been dragged through a hedge
I
backwards,
take it a
right?
little bit too literally. I've been like wearing it for the week so I don't lose it. I don't know how you do it. Yimmy's bibs are always like immaculate, like it's been frozen or something in and preserved. I look like I've screwed it up, put it in my mouth, taken it out, put it on. And that's even before I've ran the race. I don't know how yours is immaculate after the race. I don't know
I,
how you do it.
I think I'm just a bit paranoid about it because I have seen so many people leaving bibs. They get all excited about the merch. They go and have their bib photo taken. That's always fun to do. There's always places where
Yes.
Adidas have a big stand, and you've got this 42.195K thing, and it's great to go and get your photo taken in front of the BMW Berlin Marathon signage, etc. We always say to people, go and do that because
Yeah.
it's fun, right?
A few
And
years ago, they used to have one outside too. Do they still have that one? Because that's quite nice to get a breather
they
and
did
actually
have
do it.
they did have one of the bears. You know how the bear is like the
Yeah.
Berlin Marathon is the
It's
Berlin
the symbol of the
animal
city. Yeah.
symbol. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mascot.
And you'll see these bears everywhere.
Hmm.
And they had a Berlin Marathon bear in the sort of like foyer last year with a clock.
So that's a good photo op too.
Yeah, and I remember Diger and I had our photo taken outside because we couldn't. The queue was so long to actually queue in front of the Berlin Marathon map thing. But that's always fun to do if your first time doing the Berlin Marathon. By the time you've got to your fourth, fifth time, and you go like, huh, you know what? Just do one outside with the,
Yeah.
yeah, I've got my bib.
No photos.
Um, so 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 that's fun to do. But I'm always paranoid about my bib because the one thing you don't want to do apart from not lose it is bend that timing chip.
Yeah.
If you bend that timing chip, you will not get an official time for the Berlin Marathon. So
Yeah.
just be really, really careful about it.
Well, that's
It
why
is
I
a bit
bring that up now, because that is your ticket for the 4 day access on the thing. So just be extra careful because normally we say pick it up, put it in your bag, don't get it out again. But unless photos. But this, if you are using it as your ticket, do not lose it if you're taking it around the city.
Well, my standard thing is I take my bib, I take it back to the hotel, and I put it basically I pin it to my racing vest almost straight away, so it's out of the way. I do my flat lay photo, of course, with it, and
Hmm.
then I'm done, and I put it away. What I don't understand is this, Meg, which is
Hmm.
there is a perfect opportunity. They give you that
I
wristband.
know, I
So
know.
why can't that? I mean, they only give the
It makes
wristband to
no sense to
participants.
me.
So why can't they just use the wristband
It makes
as
no
as
sense to me.
as a ticket? You carrying your bib around with you. I mean, I was talking to the London Marathon, the security guard at the Expo, sorry, the London Marathon running show,
Yeah,
and and he said to me at the end of each day of the Expo, they collect 30 bibs.
I believe it. I would
30
have thought more
30
actually.
bibs. On average, they collect 30 bibs. People have just left them. And, last year on my Facebook group, I had one or two people saying, "Oh, help, I've left my bib on the tube." And it's like, well, you can't race without it. So I'm super precious about my bib.
Yeah. Well, the only so that's previously you've had to have your bid. My only hope is that they've still said, when the nearer the time when we give you start card, we'll also give you an email about this 4 day ticket. I'm just hoping in this time between now and then they rethink it and they decide to maybe do something
Hey,
slightly different. But who
you know
knows?
what? You and I manifested that blooming bib,
Yes.
the timing chip on the bib for years,
Yeah.
right? And they finally got it done. So maybe we can manifest
I'm so
using the
glad.
wristband.
I'm so glad you said manifest because my next thing I was going to say is like anyone listening, let's put all of the energy together. They say about this, don't they? Everyone have in your thoughts, be like, right, uh, as if it's already happened. I'm so glad I got to go around the city with my free transport due to my
Exactly.
wristband.
And it's my festival wristband. It's my festival of fun.
Exactly.
Actually, no, it's Berlin. It's festival of joy because everything's
Yes,
joy.
it is joy. It's in joy. So if you're listening, help us out, manifest that because that would be a fantastic
That
update.
would
I
be
would
brilliant.
love to get on this podcast next year and be like, guess what?
I'd love that. I'd
I'd
love
love
that.
that.
Shall we?
I
Shall
think
we?
that's everything with the expo.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about the stuff that happens before the race
Yes.
because
Do you want to?
I just want to hear you talk about use the German word for the carol service again because you did last year
Oh,
and it
I
was so
forget the word. I
funny.
butcher it every. Do you know what? I think I've got so much trauma from up like just ruining it last time. What is the word?
I
Remind
don't know,
me.
but
Oh,
it's a carol service.
it's a carol service. There's a carol service before the race. And if you really love this podcast, you can listen to last year's one and you just
And
enjoy
here
that little
Meg
tidbit.
absolutely butcher the pronunciation.
I did German at school as well, which makes it even more embarrassing.
But, there's a church service
Yes,
the day before um the marathon, which takes place at the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church, I believe.
it does. I believe it does. I believe it does. And yeah, it's just a really nice touch. You've got people all over the globe joining in, and yeah, it's just nice to actually have. It's really nice atmosphere. You've got the kind of yeah, it's quite that whether you're religious or not, it's just a really nice to be have that energy with a group of people. It's a really beautiful service, and just have all those people around the world come together with the idea of like let's wish everyone to have a great and safe race. I think it's quite a lovely thing.
Yeah. My favorite thing, of course, is the Saturdays, the inline skating thing,
Yes.
the inline skating marathon, and it is a beast. I mean, they get round there. I think it was just under an hour.
Yeah,
They,
that's where my ADHD brain's like, I could do that. I absolutely couldn't, but I
it's,
would
me-
love to be cool enough to do that one year.
it's mental, absolutely mental. I mean, you look at the speed of these guys and you go down. It's great to go and get your bib on. If you got it on the Saturday, go down to the Hall of Fame, which
Yes.
is at Brandenburg gate, and then you walk up to the finish line. You watch the inline skating, and it is
Mm.
amazing, absolutely incredible how fast they go. So that's another thing you can do before the race.
Yeah, and such a great novelty as well, right? Because it's getting more and more popular, like running festivals, right? Where the day before you might have a half or something like that, but it's very rare you get to see an inline skating marathon, and I love that they keep it, and every year it's the same. So.
I love it. I think it's brilliant. I absolutely think it's brilliant. Anything else happening before the race day?
I'm not aware this year, if I'm honest. I'm not aware, but the Hall of Fame get like that can be worth doing. It's an exciting thing to have a look at. It's worth. We always remind people that book early, make reservations for anywhere that you want to eat the night before because it's going to be
Yeah,
very busy and everyone's going to be carb
that's
loading.
that's a really, really good point, actually, is to make sure that you find somewhere. German food can be a bit interesting, and the night before the race is not the time to go and try something new. It really, really isn't, right?
You're so hit and miss.
So really just make sure that you're find somewhere appropriate, whether it's pasta or whatever. No need to go crazy. You're in the carb load, I know. But actually just make sure that you book somewhere because, with 50,000 runners, 50,000 plus runners, maybe 55,000 runners, plus their families, plus all the supporters, it can be difficult and you don't want to be caught out and not have, again, it just gets into your head. So you basically want to make sure that you've got somewhere booked for your preferred carb load before the race.
Yeah, even more important before, and then I'd also suggest the same for afterwards as well. The night of, you're gonna be tired too. If you there's somewhere particularly you want to go to celebrate, then always just easier to book it in, basically.
Yeah, that's smart advice. Yeah.
So yeah, lots to look forward to. Something else before the race, of course, we touched upon it earlier, is that Generale 5K. So that's something you would have had to pre-book to do. If you're interested in doing it in other years, it's usually around just under 35 euros.
34 euros 50, I think it is.
Exactly, to be precise. And you have to be born in 2016 or older to participate. But yeah, it's well loved. It's also, I think they're quite generous with the spaces, as
No,
far
it's
as I'm
it's
aware.
it's the second year they're charging money for this. Remember,
Hmm.
the reason why we're talking about it's always been popular. It was the Freedom Run before, whatever it was Run for Joy or whatever it was called
Yeah.
before, Friendship Run,
Hmm.
and it used to be free, the 5K shakeout run, and it used to go from Tempelhof to the Olympic Stadium. And now they've commercialized it. And last year was the first year, I think they then changed it to the Generali 5K. If you want to do it, it starts at 10 a.m. It's open to family members. I know that my Emma, my friend, who's my friend who's also a sports tours ambassador, she took her whole family. She ran with her dad and her husband and stuff, which was just really, really nice to be able to go and do as a family thing. And it is, but I would say it's spoiler alert. I think we said it last year as well.
Mhm.
It is the last 5K of the Berlin Marathon course, starting in Potsdamer Platz and finishing on the Berlin Marathon finish line. Now,
Yeah.
to me, that's like knowing what Christmas is going to be like before you've even got to Christmas Day.
Yeah,
It's
we
knowing
have the
what your
same
presents are
view
going
on
to be.
this for
Yeah.
sure.
You said last year it was like wearing the finisher shirt.
Yeah, we're if you're seasoned listeners to us, you know that we're big on don't wear the finisher shirt before you finish. Is
No.
our personal opinion. No, all good for you if you do, but it's the same. Yeah, I think it's so I maybe if it was a different part of the course that you did 5 km, but the finish is so iconic. I mean, if you're just doing the 5 km, it's epic, right? That you also get to have the Brandenburg
Yeah.
Gate. But if you're doing the marathon, I'm just like, yeah, I want to save it for the marathon to have that big, exciting moment. I don't want to.
Save it and savor it. I mean, maybe you've done it before. You've done the Berlin Marathon before and you want to take your family and have a bit of a fun shakeout. But I'm slightly annoyed that it costs 34.50 to get. I mean, you get a medal at the end of it, right? But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's like this used to be free, and it's like London's got and they've all the big marathons now have got shakeouts, and I would say that there are other alternatives that are available. All the big, I think Tracksmith, Runner, all of them have a free shakeout. Just
Yeah.
turn up. A number of influencers. You only have to do Berlin Marathon Shake 5K shakeout. On the Saturday, they normally do a shakeout run. Sports Tours International have one from the hotel at 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And then they escort people to the actual expo afterwards. So there are lots of different free options out there if you don't want to run the Generali one and pay 34
Yeah.
euros 50 for it.
And they're great. If you're part of, usually there's like a big official, like
Yeah.
major marathon group. If you type on the search bar in there, shakeout, it usually comes up with lots of options. Or even ask on there, is there shakeout runs? And it's such a nice way to meet people. I did my own one in Tokyo and it was such a joy.
Mm.
And I absolutely loved it. So yeah, I think it's a really, really great option. Yeah, you don't get the medal, but I think you actually get so many benefits in other ways. So
But you're going to get a medal the next day anyway,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
That's the one that matters, really.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're doing the Generale, enjoy it. It's, it will be iconic in its own way. And if you're not, also like there's so many opportunities to have fun. And if you're actually just resting your feet up the day before, fair play to you as well.
Also good. Also
Also,
good.
also valid, also great.
Also good. Um,
So yeah.
which brings us to race day.
Hmm.
And we can talk about the course in a minute, but we have already referenced the fact that it is a loop race.
Yeah.
It is one of the flattest, if not the flattest. I mean, I keep looking at the stats between here, Chicago, and Tokyo, funnily enough.
Yeah, I see. Tokyo. I kind of die on this hill. Yes, when you actually look at the data for it, Tokyo is a flat race, but there's just this slight, but it's enough. Like almost like it feels like a gradient that I've actually found harder. But I definitely Berlin. I've certainly have found that the flattest of them all so far.
Yeah, and if you look at the course elevation, right, I think it's 71 meters total elevation gain. But actually, if you look at the elevation map on the Berlin Marathon website, you can actually download the GPX. I love this, by the way,
Yeah.
that people can actually do the GPX downloads because they can then put it into Pace Pro on their Garmin watches or whatever. And you see this massive hill climbing up
I get
to
asked about this massive hill all the time,
all the
and be
time,
like,
right?
should I be worried about this?
No, look at the
No.
scale. It's
Yeah.
it's like that scale, that big hill is over 10 kilometers
Hmm.
and it peaks at 32 kilometers, which is 20 miles. And actually, when you work out the actual elevation, it's only it's less than 2%. I mean, for goodness sake, you set that 2% gradient on your treadmill when you go
Yeah.
and run on a treadmill, right?
Hmm.
It's basically as flat as you're going to get. And I remember running it one year with a friend of mine who said like we came to like there's this bit where you do there's ever so slight incline for 30 meters and somebody said oh, Yimmy, you said this of course was flat, and it's like, for goodness sake, it's 30 meters and it's like 2.5%. It is as flat as you're gonna get. I mean, world records have been broken so many times on this course. I know London's currently got the first and second sub 2 hour
Yeah,
marathon times. I
ridiculous
mean,
last
let's
year.
talk about that when we get to London, right?
Hmm.
But this is a PB course. I remember running my first ever sub 5 hour marathon on this course and then running it faster the following year. But it is flat as a pancake in marathon terms, and it's a quite kind course as well.
For sure.
Um,
I was going to say, conspiracy theorist would say that London, the double sub two was a teaser into the double this year.
who
I'm
knows?
just
Well,
joking.
well, maybe. You know what? I never thought of that.
Yeah, you never know.
I never thought of that.
Not me, but conspiracy theorists would say. But
The other thing you look at when you look at the Berlin Marathon course, I mean, I initially said it looked like a bat shape, but then I decided last year it looked more like a spring lamb.
yeah, I was like, interesting description, the bat.
Yeah, so when you actually look at the actual map itself, I mean, I always break the course down into 4 sections, which I'll talk
Yeah,
about. But the point is, it starts and finishes on the Strasse 17 Juni, which is where the Brandenburg Gate is. You, the start time. There's only one entrance
yeah.
to the place. So you've got to remember you're going to Platz der Republik, which
Hmm.
is near the Brandenburg Gate, and they do give you some suggested start times to start arrival times to get there. But I always say get there early because it's not a super early start.
No,
I
I
mean
don't think.
the
It's
way
earlier
there.
than some, but it's still, in the grand scheme of things, it's late morning.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the wheelchair races go early, hand bikes and the wheelchair races go at 8:20 and 8:26. But the runners, the first wave goes at 8:45. Now that is slightly earlier than last year. I think
Yeah,
it's 15 minutes earlier than last year. And consequently the course is closing 15 minutes earlier as well.
yeah,
But there are six blocks this year, right? And the number of letters corresponding to start blocks.
yeah.
So,
Which
you
is
know,
on your bib.
it's on your bib. I've got the bib behind me somewhere. It's over
At the
there,
top.
and your bib, and they do check, the letter. So you got A to K in terms of the
Hmm.
letters. The start times are 8:45 for first wave, which is A, B, and C.
Hmm.
The second wave goes at 9:05, which is D and E. The third wave goes at 9:33. So that's like half an hour, almost half an hour for F and G to go. And then H goes at 10:02, J goes at 10:12, and K goes at 10:27.
Yeah.
Right.
What I will
So
say is they are very efficient at getting you across the line when it's your turn, though,
they are. I mean,
in
last
my
year,
experience.
I mean, it was rumored that, Corral K had 10,000 plus people in it alone.
That's tough. Yeah.
And it's massive. But if you look at the start time, 8:45, 9:05, that's 20 minutes between the first and second wave. They're the faster runners. Then you've got half an hour almost, 28 minutes between wave two and wave three. And then you've got 29 minutes until H. So what they're trying to do is break up the time so you've got more time between each of the starting blocks for the slow runners as well,
Yeah.
which brings us to a point around your start time will correspond to your predicted finish time. And you've got until August the 27th to update what your predicted finish time is. Now, you and I always talk about predicted finish time at this point.
Yeah.
And the advice that we always give is be realistic about your start time.
Yeah, it just doesn't do anyone any favors. If you're saying you're way faster and you're not, that's gonna, slow down the people around you. And also it just doesn't feel good. So just be honest about it. And then we always get asked, once that date has passed, you can't change it.
No.
On the day, you can go backwards. You can go
Yeah,
to a later time. You can never go forwards. That's pretty standard for any race that you do. You can't, if you've already had those agreed and been assigned a pen, you cannot suddenly go to an earlier one, but you can go backwards. So if you decide, actually, I'm going to
that's
run with a friend today, or I'm
yeah,
not feeling great, go backwards. You can't go forwards.
100%. And if you put in a predicted time under 3:15, then you've got to prove it.
Yes.
So if you've got a previous marathon time and you're running a faster number, but I would always say that the reason why Meg and I always say don't gamify your start time is because, and I was in the wrong pen in my maiden um, marathon in 2018. Couple of things happen. One is you get dragged along by much faster runners,
Yeah,
which
it's
means
not
you
pleasant.
you blow up your legs right at the beginning of the race, and it's not great. Or at the same time, you have lots of runners passing you, and that's psychologically really, really tough. And the other thing is, I mean, Russ, one of our friends, Russ, was saying, in the year that he ran Berlin, he was in wave C and he was seeing people walking in the first kilometer.
Yeah, and it's not safe, to be brutally honest. If you're doing that, it is kind of selfish because you are going to be affecting and like causing more injuries potentially if people are bumping into you. It's not good for anyone.
Hey, I'm a Jeffer, which means I
Mm,
run walk, right? And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
not at
But
all.
but I know that I have, my predicted finish time. I'm a mid to the back of the pack runner. And there's no point me being right at the front, getting in the way of people who have trained just as hard
Yeah.
and they have their race strategy and they're just as deserving to be there as you are. Everyone deserves to be there. I think just be respectful and put down an honest time so that actually you allocate it to the time that's appropriate for your wave. It's your safety and it's also for the safety of other people around you.
Absolutely. It's so well said. And so it's absolutely nothing to do with discrimination or time. I couldn't care. I'm a coach. I couldn't care less what time you finish as long as you feel good about it. That's what we care about. But it just really is, it set yourself up to win and help set up others up to win by just being realistic about it.
Exactly right. Do you want to talk about time limits on the course?
Yes, we can talk about time limits on the course. So with this course, I believe we've got 6 hours and 15 minutes from crossing the start line there. So that makes it, I always appreciate when they do that from crossing the start line. It just
Yeah.
makes it a little bit easier and fairer for the people that are, slower runners.
Yeah. And the official finish time is 5 p.m. So you cannot cross the finish line after 5 p.m. Right. So you cannot, they pull up a rope. We've seen
Yeah,
it right in front of the Brandenburg gate. However, there is another cutoff point so that it's not as brutal. They close the course at 3:40 at kilometer 33. So if you haven't crossed the 33 kilometers by 3:40 in the afternoon, you'll find that the course is actually closed.
yeah.
Right.
And
So
in that likelihood, with Berlin, they have the Wagon, don't they? Where it's essentially the sweeper bus, and that's where they will be directing you off course, and then you can get on the sweeper bus transport back to the end.
and that is one bit of free transport you do not want to be on.
No, but you definitely will be wearing your bib for it.
Yeah, you'll be
But
wearing your bit for it at
yeah,
least. Yeah.
so set yourself up to win because yeah, you're not doing any favors trying to do it earlier, and we'll talk about crossing that start line, but it's hard enough as it is on a normal day to not get overexcited and go too fast. You're
100%.
especially going to do that if you've been caught up with the Speedy Gonzalez.
100%, 100%. Do you want to do the paces, Meg? I know you're always in up to date with the information on the paces.
Yes, we can talk about the paces. I'm just going to find my notes on them here. But with the paces, they're usually pretty generous with how they spread out their paces. So you've got starting blocks A, B, and C, and they do 3:15, 3:30. Starting blocks D and E also have it for the same time hours, but also 3:45. Starting blocks F and G have 3:30, 3:45, 4 and 4:15. Starting block H is 3:45, 4, 4:15 and 4:30. Starting block J is 4:15, 4:30, 4:45 and 5 hours. And then starting block K has 4:30, then 4:45 to 5 pacer, and then 5:15, 5:30, 5:45 and 6 hours. So they've been pretty generous to really try and make sure you're getting across the finish line.
I'm cheering at this point, Meg. I'm cheering at this point because last year, remember, we said there were no later runner pacers, and
No, I
now there
really
are
think we're
later runner
manifesting
pacers.
on these Berlin episodes because we were
I'm
big
I'm
on that.
loving it. I'm
We
loving it.
so often say when we talk about the races that actually we have respect for any runner, but it's particularly hard if you are out on the course longer, and you should be getting actually more resources to set you up to win, not less. And so that is a delight to hear, where actually the most amount of paces is in that final block, and they've
It's
really
so
put
good.
them close together, and you can really tell they're really trying to get the support to help get you not in that Broom Wagon.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I think it's brilliant that they're doing that now. Couple of other things. The easiest way to get to the start line, I mean, you can get to Brandenburg Tor in terms of the U-Bahn, but the easiest way to get there is not to go to Bundestag or Brandenburg Tor, but actually go to Hauptbahnhof, which is the main station.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the trains end up at Hauptbahnhof. It's a vast central train station, and um, you arrive there, and there's lots of different levels as well. And you basically, I timed it from walking out of the Hauptbahnhof to getting to the security check. Took 12 minutes, including a couple of stops for selfies.
Hmm.
Right, it's 12 minutes walk, and it's dead easy. And then
Easy. And it's a
after the
really nice
race,
atmosphere too.
oh, it's great. And you cross over the Spray, which is the river, and you get all the runners all going down together, and everyone walks to the front of the Reichstag, which is your homing beacon. There is the Reichstag,
You can't miss
and
it.
and then you turn right, and you're the start line areas. There's a whole lineup of security people. They will check your wristband,
Yep.
they will check your bib, and they will do random checks of bags for any prohibited items. I mean, just be sensible, right? I mean, taking you are allowed to wear hydration vests.
Yeah, it's one of the few ones that you can.
Yeah, you can wear bottle belts, whatever, just no glass bottles in there. And if you look on the prohibited items list, I mean, it includes things like don't carry things like ladders.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I,
it's great.
I can't remember carrying a ladder
Pyrotechnic objects, so
uh,
no fireworks, everyone.
and no weapons.
Yep. And basically any with the glass along with that, it's sort of any breakable
Yeah.
items. What really did make me laugh as well was large quantities of paper and paper rolls. You just know that there's been too many people coming in with their toilet rolls. They're like, enough of this. I love seeing instructions where you're like, how, like, why do we need to say this? And you're like, that means that there's has been a reason that you have to say this.
I you know what? The toilet situation isn't great. I'd
Hmm.
always say, I mean, there are some suggested starting entrance times. So if you're in the first wave, A, B, and C, 7 a.m., get there for starting the second starting block, get there for 7:30. The third one, that's F and G, get there for 8, 8:30 blocks H and J, and then 9 a.m. for starting block. Okay, that's the entrance times, right? And I was
Hmm.
thinking, okay, that's fine. I would say get there comfortably early, at least 90 minutes before. And the reason why
Definitely.
is for two reasons. One is the bag drop's really efficient, but it's not always in sequential order.
No, not at
So
all.
this is weird. You end up with like you get blocks. So you get like 14 to 14 100 to 14 200, and then 36 something. So will take you a little bit of time to navigate that vast area to find where your mind's always somewhere that's miles away. I don't know why. Right, my bag is almost like they've got it in for me. I might not do the bag drop this
Is
year.
it, well, to be fair, because is it because it's Y? But usually it's done by number, isn't it?
It's usually done by bib number. So you've
Yeah.
got to go and find your bib number, and it's not completely sequential, which is so it takes a bit of time to do that. The second thing is that the toilet situation has not improved.
Okay,
And
that's
I'm
it.
being polite there.
I wanted to hear this update, and I got asked a lot of questions, and I was like, Yimmy will deliver. I just know
It's
he
it
will on this
it's
episode.
not improved right now. I would say if you're in an early start, then but if you're in a later start, let's say you're in the third wave and onwards, you can always walk, and Meg's advice is always spot on for this. Walk down to the other start areas, the toilets which are further down, where right at the front you've got, so let's say you're in wave D, which is, the second wave. A, B, and C will have gone to the corral, so the toilet situation would have cleared up.
Yeah,
So always go further down to go to the loos. And if
and walk
failing
along.
everything else, this is a real top tip for you. On the left-hand side, between wave one and wave two, and between wave two and wave three, so outside Corral C and outside Corral E on the left-hand side of the course. I film it every year. There are toilets with zero queues.
Yep.
So if you lastminute.com, you cannot get to the toilet. There are
Hmm.
toilets on the left-hand side. Now, guys, there are urinals right at the front of the tier garden just before you get into the corral.
Yeah.
Do not use those urinals if you're shy.
You're gonna meet lots of friends. And I have to say this because, Yimi, you're becoming more of a running celebrity. He loves a hug, he loves a selfie, but not in the urinal. Okay.
No.
He can be polite sometimes, so I'm gonna say it for him. That is a no zone, a no selfie zone.
I did. Somebody did walk past me. Oh, Yimmy, it's nice to see you. And I said, I've got my hands full right now.
Exactly.
And
So
then, and
you
then,
don't want to meet Yimi in that light.
no, no,
So
I don't want to meet you. And I'm not doing a selfie while I'm at the urinal. And neither am I if I'm in the bushes. I mean, one year I did walk into the bushes with one of our teammates, and she and I had been waiting for half an hour for the toilets, and it was a bit of a disaster. So in the end, we said, "Oh, sod it, let's just go into the bushes." I said, "You go first," and off she went. And I said, "I'll turn my back, and I'll spare you. I'll just
your dignity.
defend your honor here, right? And I'll look the other way." And she was behind me, and I could hear she was doing her thing,
Mhm.
and then these three women walked up in front of me and just literally dropped their pants and just started doing their thing. And it was like, where do I look? I just like, I was just
What
like
is this, an
hands in.
Iron Man?
No,
Like,
I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I know it's liberal. The
yeah,
Europeans are very liberal. So just be prepared for that, right? They
yeah.
just,
You
three
you
women rocked
will
up.
see
They,
people in all states of undress.
and they were just chatting away like they were going out on a shopping trip. And they just dropped down in front of me and just started really going for it, right?
Yeah. I
And
mean,
and
if you've
so
got to go, you've got to go.
you gotta go, you gotta go. Just gotta be prepared for that. So the urinals are at the front of the tier garden just before you get into the corral. They are very, very good at checking the correct letter
Yes.
on your bibs.
The German efficiency comes
There's
out.
that
Yeah.
German efficiency, and all the pens are then separated, and you've got this column. Now, before I start talking about the mile by mile, you've got to get to the start line on
Yes.
time,
Yes.
because the start line warm up is
Hmm.
the very best.
It's exciting, it's entertaining, it's camaraderie, it's great.
You do not, I'm no spoilers here, right? If you've run it
Hmm.
before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But, you want to get there early and not miss the warm up, because it is the best warm up of any of the majors. Even the emotional singing of the national anthem in New York and Frank Sinatra, I think it's actually better than that. Everyone
Yeah.
gets involved in this, and the energy, the emotive music. I remember you were talking about it. It was Sirius, the Chicago Cubs music starts playing at one
Yes,
point.
yes, yes, yes.
And just as you're walking up to the start line, and you can see the clock counting away,
Yeah,
and
they like to put on the drama with it. It is fantastic. And one of the questions I got asked actually was, people concerned about their times, and if they're trying to go for a particular time, is it worth going really early? And it's first of all, you can't get into the start line until your
Yeah, that's how
pen
it takes
start.
time.
But
Yeah,
also, even when you get in there, like one, it's good to get there with enough time to enjoy the excitement of it all. But also, there is space. I do find Berlin, you are sardined a bit. Like it does feel like your people are closer for that, but there is still enough space for you to get where you need to go. You
yeah,
don't need to get there excessively early. Just be there sensibly early. Not certainly not at the expense of you've rushed your preparation to try and get to the front.
yeah. One other thing I would say before you get in the corral is if you're meeting people, there's always a big screen.
This is a great tip.
Right. So right as you come in into the athletes area, the athletes village, you walk in, there's always a massive screen. Actually, last year there were two smaller screens, but it was in the same place, so same difference.
Hmm.
And that's where people stand and watch the elites go.
Hmm.
And that's a great place to go and meet with other runners. I met with so many friends last year and the year before where, we just stood there and we're waiting for people. And, I'm always in the same race kit, so people can easily spot me. But, if you're going to meet with other friends and run with other friends, that's a great place to go and just say, stand in front of the big screens and there's a big space there. It's like a real festival feel. So that's a great place to meet up with people.
Yeah, it's a great top tip. We'll talk about the start of the race itself and go into the course, but something I thought I'd better touch up on, just in case people haven't heard previous episodes. When Yimmy was talking about the bushes, he's referring to there like by the side of
Yeah.
the start of the race, just in case people decide to go start doing business in random bushes. Or it's something, it's not designated bushes for it, but you will see when you get there.
Yeah.
People have got to go. Unfortunately, it's become a common thing where off people go to the
Yeah.
side because they're desperate for the toilet. But
It's
we're
it's
not advocating for it. It's not an official thing. Don't go
no,
in random bushes either.
but it's Tiergarten,
Yeah.
which is the big park around the Strasse 17 Juni. And there is a bit of a wooded area that you walk through and you can see where there's a bit of a thicket and people go and
Yes.
use it as a makeshift
So
toilet.
I
So
thought better to
yeah,
just put some clarifications there if you're a new listener. Don't go
yeah,
in random bushes. We're
good
certainly
shout.
not encouraging it, but you'll see it as a done thing.
No, walk further down, you'll find other loos, basically.
Exactly. So let's talk about crossing that start line. You will right from the beginning, you're going to have that classic three stripe Adidas line to
Oh,
follow.
so good.
It's
So
iconic.
good.
I love it. It's also really helpful as well because you can see it very clearly on the course.
So, people who have not listened to the previous episodes, the blue line is printed in a very, very specific way in Berlin, and it's the main sponsor, apparel sponsor. It's Adidas, and they literally have a dashed
Hmm.
the Adidas three stripes. Oh, and it's
It's
so
iconic.
good.
Yeah, it's
It's
great.
so good. And there's a video, I think, on the run up to the race, they even have the live video of them painting the stripes on the road. And you can see when you go to Berlin, there are other previous years. You can
Yeah,
see
it's still
the the,
fading
the
out.
fading out. Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that.
It's
But you
beautiful.
start, it's a massive avenue. It's like 4 lanes wide on each side. So it's 8 lanes of traffic, but it's 8 lanes of people wide, with a central reservation. And you run down through the gantry and straight away, within the first kilometer, you get to your first big landmark. It's
Yeah.
the Victory Column. You see this beautiful column with a gold angel thing on the
Yeah,
top, and
it
it's
feels
gleaming in the sunlight.
momentous.
Oh, and last year, I think it was Shocks, one of the sponsors. They had a big DJ booth thing just
Fun, I
before
love
you
it.
got there. So everyone was like, yeah, really pumped up. I would say when you peel past you can peel left and right
Yeah, either way,
past the
honestly.
column, but I would say, if you peel left, right, and the road, you get onto the road on the other side, there's a central reservation. Stay in the left-hand side of the course, but close to the central reservation,
Good tip.
because there's always a camera.
Hmm.
right there,
And
and it's
if
and
if you're new to this, you'll learn if anyone knows a camera is Yimmy. If you want the best race photos in town, listen to all his tips in this episode.
there's always a photographer on that central reservation, and there's almost like a scissor lift type thing
Mm.
and a cherry picker, and there are photographers there taking photos of you with that victory column behind you. So stay on the left hand side of the column, and then when you get to the other side, then the photographer is in the middle. So that's the first kilometer. It's wide. It's it spaces out really, really quickly, and it won't feel very, very congested. Then you get to Charlottenburg gate at 2 kilometers, and you'll see there's like two sort of gates on either side, and again the road stays pretty wide there as you run through there. You then get to like a roundabout, and then you sort of turn right, sorry,
Hmm.
and you go down this little bit of a downhill. Now, this is where it's gone from 8 lanes wide to 6 lane wides to 4 lanes.
Yeah.
So it's a 2 lane on each side road. And it suddenly feels like there's a bit of bunching going on. So early on in the race, just watch your footing there. And you go through like an industrial thing, and there's like a slight downhill. I remember singing ABBA tunes.
Love it.
I think it was Mamma Mia when we were running down there last
Beautiful.
year. You run over a little bridge, you see a church, you turn right, and you're heading back on yourself to come back towards towards that sort of central area. You'll pass at 5 kilometers, you'll pass the prison on your left hand side, and there's usually the first aid station is there, right,
Hmm.
on the left hand side, and you can hear this cups clacking away. We'll talk about the aid stations at the end, but
Yeah.
I hope they changed the paper cups at some stage. But anyway,
Yeah,
just the first
Berlin
aid
is
station.
one thing, kudos for them. They're very, very big and really try and London, New York always competing for the biggest. Berlin's usually competing for the greenest. So they do a lot of stuff there where they're
Yeah,
trying to be as recycle friendly as possible. But it
they
was
do
paper
that.
cups, but hopefully they'll change it up where it's still
Yeah,
sustainable, but a bit
yeah,
more
100%, hundred
easy
percent.
to use.
7 kilometers, look on the right hand side, you'll see the Federal Chancellery building, which is this beautiful building on the other side of the river. And it's got like a big circle cut out of it. Now, that is actually on the other side of that is where you actually started. That's the other
Hmm.
side. That's the end of the the um the park where you were before. And that's the other side of that is where the start line was. So, the Tier Gardens there. So you'll see that. On the left-hand side, you'll see this glittering cube. And the glittering cube, this mirrored building behind there is Hauptbahnhof, where you probably got the train to in the morning. So you get to see the railway station. You turn right, you go over this little bridge, and it's the old bridge you get to run over. And that's where you see the crisscross of some of these old Adidas three stripes
Yeah, it's
on the ground. And you run
great.
over the river, and it's a beautiful view as you then see the Reichstag in front of you. Then it goes a bit weird. You then turn left and you run past the Reichstag, and the course sort of splits into two really, really quite narrow lanes. Now, if you're at the front of the pack, just be careful here because
Hmm.
it is literally a car and a half wide on each side. So you've gone from 4 lanes into 2 lanes effectively.
And it is notable because I'd actually say Berlin's quite generous with how wide most of the course
Yeah,
is.
most
But
of it
it,
is.
but when these little bits, it does take you by surprise. So say going from four
Yeah,
to almost one lane is quite a quick contrast. So definitely watch
yeah.
your footing.
It was a reminder of that bit at the start of mile 21 in London, where they get you to run through that cycle lane thing at West
Yeah, I
Ferry. That's just
don't know why they
silly,
do that.
but
Yeah,
at least there's two roads and they're both narrow lanes.
yeah,
So
you pick a
just watch
side.
out. Yeah, pick a side and just stick to it. Just be patient going through there. It's about 300 meters worth of that road as you run past the Reichstag.
And it opens up again.
It suddenly then exactly. Then you turn left and it goes up a little bit, and then it opens up again. So it's not long at all. Just be a little bit patient. And then you get to 8 kilometers and you get to Frederiksstad Palast, which is this big department store.
Hmm.
And you'll see it's a grand building, and you've got these like arched windows over it. You turn left at 8 kilometers. My advice is what two things. One is watch out for the tram lines
Yeah,
there.
great advice.
Trip hazard, but also on a rainy day. Not that we've had a rainy race for ages.
You
But it's
never know.
also, you never
Slippery.
know, but could be slippery. Exactly. Stay on the crossover to the right hand side of the course. In the middle of the street, there is a photographer taking a
Told
photo
you,
on your
he's
left
got you
hand side.
covered.
It's a great photo to have.
So we've had left Brandy Monument and then
Yeah.
right hand side for this one.
Then you go to the right hand side, but the photographer's on your left.
Okay,
So
got it.
so
Great.
I'll do a post on it on my Instagram, which is everyone wants now the photos post. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
I'll do it.
they're like,
So
please.
so so I'll post that. Then you get to sort of like it's all a bit samey for a bit. Then you get to 10 kilometers. Now then you're approaching Alexanderplatz.
Yes.
Now you run past Alexanderplatz on three sides.
Yeah.
Right. All you've got to do when you get to Alexanderplatz around 10 kilometers, keep looking right.
Yeah.
And you'll see the Berlin Tower. The first year I ran it, I missed it. I don't know why I
I
missed
don't know
it.
how.
You run past the square where this thing stands on three sides, right? And I ran past it. So all you need to do is keep looking right, and you'll see this Berlin Tower, the TV tower, in the distance. You then run this nice little slight descent where you see this sort of like massive brick building in front of you. But before you get there, it's another department store, but you turn left, and that is then Strausberger Platz. And this, Meg, between sort of 10 and a half, 11 and a half K, is a 1 kilometer of really exposed course.
Yeah.
Really exposed. There's no shade, there's no relief. And you get to the end of it at 11.5 kilometers because there's a big fountain. And for the last couple of years, the fountain hasn't been on because,
Yes.
maybe
I
it's
don't
been so
yeah.
hot.
I don't think it'll be this summer either.
I
But who
don't think
knows?
so. I mean, water shortages everywhere. They did have a little shower thing
A
sprinkling at
little
the end of it.
consolation
It,
fountain.
but, but, but it was like that the baby in the fountain with the little mannequin piss, I think it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah.
That was harder.
Yeah.
That gave more water, more spray than this little shower thing at the
But
end.
it's something. It's
But it's something.
something.
It was something, right? So that's the first block. I would say that's the interesting bit of the course done.
I agree.
Start to 11 and a half K. Now, the next 11 and a half to 20, so just over 8 kilometers, just over 5 miles. I call this the boring bit
Hmm.
because you are actually in East Berlin and it gets very, very samey. It's wide European avenues, and it's a bit like I treat it as like the 5 mile drag through Brooklyn, where it gets interesting for the first bit, then it gets samey, 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 samey.
Yeah. This is
And
where the mental performance kicks in as well.
this is where you just need to just lock in and just find your pace, find your strategy, decide then actually, are the conditions right? Am I feeling good to actually push on? This is you're approaching the mid part of the course, which is then, the sort of like the second quarter, if you like, of the course. This is where you kind of make the strategic decisions over your race strategy,
Yeah.
and it's very, very samey. I would say that for the most part of it, the avenues that you run down, they've got trees in the middle, so you've got some dappled shade, right? But you do run around East Berlin, and it looks the same. There are bands, there are
Mhm.
singers
Yeah.
on the course who are there, and there's a bit of entertainment. But until you get to about 20 kilometers, it feels very, very same. So just lock in, you've shaken off your start line nerves, lock into your race strategy.
Yeah, that's where there's so many benefits of a flat race, but this is one of the few rare things where a flat race is harder, where actually, as much as we hate it physically, undulations and things, it gives a bit of variety and got a bit of a natural acceleration, deceleration. When you've got a flat course is hard in that aspect of where you're doing the same thing. So that's where actually a huge
It,
part of that strategy is to try and keep that consistent pace.
I can't agree with you more, Meg. The undulating courses sound harder, but actually they give you relief because you're not using the muscles in the same way.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really felt it after I last ran Boston, right? I was like, wow, that was like hard. And the
Hmm.
next day, my legs were like, both my quads and my hamstrings were in bits. But the last time around Berlin and also Chicago, I felt like, and also Valencia,
Hmm.
I felt I've run such a flat race. My legs haven't had a chance to do anything else.
Yeah.
But I've used them in the same way for 42 kilometers, 42.195 kilometers, right? And at the end of the day, it's like, what, I felt really, really shattered because the legs had no relief over that
Yeah.
time. So just look out for the entertainment for distractions on the course. You get to 20 kilometers, and this is where it sort of gets interesting for a little bit, for about 3 or 4 kilometers.
Hmm.
You get to a place called Yorkstrasse.
Hmm.
And I call it the three bridges. It's actually more than three bridges. There's a number of bridges and railway and road bridges that go over, and you get this shade there, and it feels like you're running through a tunnel, and it gets all echoey in there, and it's good fun.
Hmm.
And you run through there, and you're approaching halfway. As soon as you come out of that, there is an Abbott sprint.
Hmm.
So there's like you see some Abbott signage, and you run through the Abbott sprint. um, Make sure when you come through those bridges, there's a photographer on the left
There you
as you
go.
come through there. So with the Abbott sprint thing behind you as you approach the halfway mark.
Left after the bridge.
The halfway mark is like the most unremarkable.
Well, as Londoners, we're always going to be biased, right? Because we have the iconic London Bridge, which is, in my opinion, impossible to beat. Well, Tower Bridge, impossible
Tower
to beat.
Bridge, yeah.
But this is particularly underwhelming, potentially.
It's an inflated arch. That's all it is. And
But you
it's
know they've tried. They've tried. I will say that someone has taken the time and the huff and the puff to inflate that thing. So I appreciate the effort. It could have been nothing. They could have just made it could have been even more boring.
oh my God, you
So
run through
actually,
that
please
arch.
smile when you go through the arch and be like, "Thank you for the huff and the puff."
Do smile, show some appreciation. You get to 23 kilometers, and that's where you get to Schöneberg Town Hall. That's JFK Boulevard. JFK did his big speech there, the Ich bin ein Berliner speech, which I always say Berliner is a jammy donut. So
Yeah.
JFK was saying, I'm a jammy donut. But we all knew what you meant,
We
President Kennedy. And
did.
it's a big town hall. It's got a big clock on the top of it. You can't miss it. Stay on the left-hand side here. Photographer is on your left-hand side as you run past that hall. There's a photo of you going past there. You then, within about 200 meters, you then get to two bridges, two road bridges, which you run under. And I love this. This is like mile 6 of London, where you've actually got the drummers with
Hmm.
all the sound echoing off the
Yeah.
off the off the bridge, and
Pretty
you go
amazing.
under the underpass, and there were two sets of drummers the last couple of years trying to outdo each other.
Doubled it. I love it. A rivalry.
Oh, you could hear that drum beat, and it was
Turn that into a
amazing.
TV show.
Oh, absolutely. And then 23 kilometers to 34 kilometers, I would say this is the hard bit, right? Because then it goes all samey again.
Yeah.
And I noticed it last year and the year before, Meg. The crowd just died down.
Yeah.
And these are the workhorse miles that you have to do to where your marathon goals are won and lost, right?
Hmm.
And I've got to say, it's so unremarkable from 23 to about 32 kilometers.
And
You
that's
get
where
to the
things get hard physically for a lot of people anyway, right? So this again, but they're on a course like this, mental performance is it's not as physically challenging, but mentally, yes.
Yeah, you're running the dog leg at the bottom of this course. You're coming back on yourself. And it's only when you get to like 32 kilometers, then it gets a bit very, very strange. You kind of run into like suburbia.
I think that's very well described. Yeah.
You run into like, it's
Well
like
put.
running into Charlton, and
Yeah.
there's like houses, and it's like the start of the London Marathon where you start off in Charlton, but it's like suburbia, and there's these big houses with their gardens, and there's greenery, and there's bit of shade. Give
It
it
just feels
that.
weirdly placed, doesn't it? Because you're like city, 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 and then like, oh, hello.
Exactly. And then it's like you've run into suburbia and the crowd is not there.
From our experience, like I definitely say that bit is consistent with lower crowd, and that is a part in the race where often you need that bit of that pep the most.
last 3 years I've run this, last three occasions I've run this, the crowd hasn't been there. I mean, I remember Diger grabbed my phone and did this Walking Dead video last year. She said, "Look, this is the Walking Dead, and it's the dead zone." And all the runners were struggling last year, which I'll talk about because of the weather a
Yeah.
bit later. But it was just the zero support down there for a couple of kilometers. Then you get into 34 kilometers, and you know that you're getting back into the center of Berlin because the shops get nicer,
Yeah.
and you've got all of the big boutique shops. I'm talking the high
Yeah,
end
and that's a
shops.
relief to be honest. That comes at good timing because you've had that bit of a struggle, but it's quieter, and then you feel like it does that bit of relief of like, okay, I feel like I'm getting a bit more into the city. There's
That's it.
interesting things to look at.
But there's no crowd still, right?
No, but
You
you've
know
at
that
least got some eye candy with those fancy stores.
you're not window shopping at that stage, you know.
Well, speak for
But
yourself.
but but then you get to the 35 kilometers and you get to see another landmark, and then you
Yeah.
know that you're on the home straight. You get to 35 kilometers, left hand side, you've got the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. It's the church with the broken steeple,
Yeah.
and it's known as the broken tooth. So when you see that, you know you've got 7 kilometers to go, and the crowd starts to build because you're in that sort of like more affordable shopping districts because
Yeah.
people who are in the high end are all in the shop looking at their boutiquey stuff, right?
Yeah,
They're
it's also
living their.
not too far from the finish line
It's
now, so
not too
people are like,
far.
you know what, I'll make the effort here.
Fair, actually fair. And then you sort of like run past the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church, stay in the middle of the road.
Hmm.
There is a sort of stay on the left of the course. The photographer is on your left on the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. You then sort of get into the last bit of the course. This is where it gets really interesting. The crowd starts to build again.
Yeah.
You know, you run past a big department store, Cadeve, and
Mhm.
like, you know, the crowd's like four or five people deep, and it gets consistent all the way
Yeah.
down into 39 kilometers, into 40 kilometers. You run into Potsdamer Platz.
Yeah. And
Now,
this is really when you need that build up again.
this is when you really need it, right? So you pass this harmonic hall on your left hand side, harmony, and that's your one part run left,
Yeah.
right? You sort of like you do a sort of left and a right and a left and a right. You end up going down towards Potsdamer Platz. You run past the 39-kilometer sign, get to 40 kilometers, and you do this left.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing, it then goes quiet again.
Yeah.
It's like Williamsburg in mile 10 of New York City Marathon, where
Yeah,
you've
I think
got
that's a
all of
good
that
comparison.
huge crowds at Atlantic, Lafayette, and you're running, and then you turn left into Williamsburg and it goes quiet, and you're into that Jewish area,
Hmm.
and there's a long sort of stretch going down that feels like it just goes on forever. The only saving grace there is that you've got photographers on all the way down on the right hand side.
So keep a smile on your
So
face.
keep a smile on your face, right? Some great race day photos from there. You then do a left and then you do a right and you're at 41 kilometers and then you get the Concert House Gendarmen Market. And you'll know it because it's a bit, there's two domes.
Yeah.
It's a square with this beautiful sort of like building and it's with two domes. And there, my advice is stay on the right hand side of the course and look up. There's always a crane photographer, and the rest of the photographers are on your right hand side taking a photo with you with the concert house behind you.
Great advice. Yeah.
Right. Then you do a left after you go past the concert house, and then it goes quiet again. And
They're teasing you.
this is what I call the calm before the storm, right?
Accurate.
Because
Very
you
accurate.
are you are into the very last bit now, and this is where it gets really, really exciting.
Hmm.
You run past, and then you turn right, and then it's still quiet, and then you do your last left turn. I think it's Unter den Linden, running
Yes, I think
towards,
correct. Yeah.
yeah, Unter den Linden. You turn left, and first you see it in the distance, half a kilometer away,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's the
time.
Brandenburg Gate,
Yeah.
and you
Iconic.
think, wow, this is it. You're running down Unter den Linden.
This is my
The
big moment.
the crowd's massive.
Yeah.
You know, you look to the right. I'd go to the right, high five the crowd behind the BMW Berlin Marathon signage, behind the crowd barriers. Just watch your footing on
Hmm.
the paving, on the curb as you're high fiving the crowd all the way down. Get the energy from the crowd. Your
Like they're ready
legs.
to welcome me home.
Oh my God, your legs will be burning, your
Mhm.
lungs will be burning, your heart's going to be pounding, your head's going to be screaming, the crowd's going to be screaming. You get to the Brandenburg gate, you put your arms up in the air,
Victory.
and then you realize that is not the finish.
It is not. And if you have not done the course before and you thought it was, it is such a cruel, cruel, cruel awakening.
Let us
And there's
save you.
cameras to catch your expression.
There are cameras all the way down there, and as you run through the Brandenburg Gate, and you realize there are 288 meters to go to the
It is
finish.
not the end. If we can
It
give
is not
you
the end.
one huge tip for that race, it is not the end. Prepare yourself with the biggest smile possible so you can smile your agony through the next 200, but you're
That's
also directly through all of the cameras waiting for you.
It's so funny because when you run through, I say, as you run through each arch, there's a photographer on the other side taking photos of you with this iconic Brandenburg Gate behind you. So make sure you got a smile on your face. And then you're running down that last 288 meters to the finish line. And there are cameras on both sides, but also cameras after the finish line as well. So don't stop your watch immediately because you don't need 50 photos of you stopping your Garmin watch.
Mm-mm-mm.
Run through, big smile on your face, do find some space, awesome finish line photos. I mean,
Absolutely.
it got to the stage where, and we talk about my race experience in a minute, but long story short, Diagra and I both struggled on that race last year. And I struggled in the first half and she supported me. She struggled in the second half and I supported her. And towards the end, as we came down the finish line straight, I was filming her running down the finish
I
line. I
love
was
that.
running backwards down there. And there's some great photos of us doing that. And, the atmosphere is absolutely electric. So enjoy that moment.
Yeah,
And
and honestly, I've seen so many race photos from that Brandenburg Gate moment, and if you can get your pose right and you remember that's there, honestly, there's so out of all the majors, that's some of the most iconic photos of
yeah,
majors is that one in front of the gate. So
yeah,
if you love your photos, get yourself ready for that one and like
that's it.
make yourself big. Do enjoy your moment.
There's always some tall bloke behind me in mine, though.
I think my favorite race photo ever is, which is actually the one, probably one of the hardest I've worked for, was the Iron Man. And there's a guy literally in front of me in the arc who
Oh
looks like the Walking
no!
Dead. It's okay. I've still got some good ones, but it makes me laugh because it's just there and this guy is done. He looks like a zombie.
One of my favorite photos taken by a guy I've actually met who took the photo was us after the London Marathon last year, after we crossed the finish line together.
Mm.
And I know the guy who took the photos, like his name's Andrew, and he's one of the London Marathon photographers. And yeah, they used that photo for the Good for Age emails
So,
that went
so
out.
sweet. Yeah.
It's so funny because it says because the G had fallen off your
Oh,
top.
yeah. So it just says me. It
Yes, it
just
says
says us.
Yimmy and me.
And I think London Marathon have put it on the Instagram for the post
Yeah,
that day. But so we were like, God, this has done its circles. But it just shows like enjoy it. Like I think what was so great about that photo is it was just like like a natural moment they
yeah,
caught where we're just having so much fun. So
we're just
yeah,
joyous.
enjoy it. And if there's one camera, Yumi's giving you fantastic tips to watch out for throughout the race. And there's some really good ones in this race in front of landmarks. But if there's one camera you remember and try and get a good photo. Try and do
It's
the one the other
Brandenburg
side of
Gate.
the gate. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
this really is a public service. One, not so you don't stop on the other way through the gate thinking it's the finish, but also you can get your game face on. So
Exactly.
it's not capturing your heartbreak.
Exactly that. Now, you finish the medals really, really soon, straight after, because you're hobbling around and they're trying to move people forwards.
Hmm.
So do you get your medal and then they hand you your goodie bag.
What was in the goodie bag last year,
Ah,
Yumi? This is
so
what we like to know.
there was a white plastic bag.
Mm.
Inside there was a bottle of water. There was apple,
Sensible.
and there was some bananas given out separately. Um, and it was I think there was some biscuity sort of like protein bar type thing in there as
Nice.
well, which
Is
I
this
didn't
with
eat.
this apple? It became quite iconic because, like, New York missed a trick here, right? Is it because this with the
Ah,
apple? They branded the apple,
it,
didn't they?
it was so funny. This is what I was going to come to, and they very cheekily printed the Berlin Marathon logo on the apple, and it was almost like a you're not the only ones who give out an apple.
Yeah.
And I
And I
did
was
do a
like,
medal
oh, they'll
photo.
be New York will be so bitter about not only have they stolen the apple trip, but also they were like that's one of those we should have thought of that first.
They branded the apple. They branded the apple with the BMW
Genius move.
Berlin Marathon thing. I thought that was brilliant. I did a medal photo with the apple, and I said, I am kind of there's weird vibes here because it's like it's not the big apple.
No. Which
Uh,
which was so yeah, I thought that was a genius move because there's no like quite a lot of races put through, but I was like, what a way to get everyone talking.
100%,
So fair
100%.
play with that one.
At the end of the race, there's a massage station if you get there early enough. I never get there on time. If you didn't elect for the bag drop, then there is a poncho that you get. It's not nothing as nice as the New York Marathon one, but it's like a
Or your towel blanket in Tokyo. But it's if you like to collect these things, it's something.
I saw lots of people collecting them to use for the start lines of other
Yeah.
races, which I think it's helpful for. It's
Hmm.
like a sort of like a foamy
Yeah.
sort of like material. It's not
Hmm.
like it doesn't drape properly. It's almost like a piece of foam.
No, it used to be like you used to just be like the tin foil you didn't used to be able to get, and then the tin foil was a special, and now yeah, it's upgraded to a foam.
Yeah, it's
So
weird. It's a bit strange.
yeah,
And
but
then
a foam means it's a collectible item.
you're back in the start line village where you can go and hopefully remember where you drop your bag. Um, and then that's the race day experience done. I think the thing that is really good there are showers.
Hmm.
We haven't mentioned this one for a couple of
Yeah, we
episodes
haven't
now.
actually. True.
There are showers there. There is a shower tent. Now,
If
if
you're
you're
brave
going to
enough.
if you I think there were a lot of people who complained on the Berlin Marathon Facebook group that I belonged to a while ago, saying like they couldn't believe how men and women were just rocking around.
Oh, so this is what separates, the triathletes from the crowd. Because when you start getting into like, I think most triathletes, especially Ironman stage, nobody cares. People are walking around in like everything's off. I think if you're a runner, it's quite a shock to the system because mo you don't normally typically see this at a lot of races.
I would say that if you go and do use the showers, then bear in mind the medal is not the only thing that might be just flopping around,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Um, so
And
it's
they're
pretty.
not medal holders either.
No, not medal holders, definitely not.
Give it to the
Um,
family member.
I mean, you've got to be pretty liberal and open-minded, and if you're slightly shy, then it's not for you.
Yeah, wait to the hotel, I'd say, because
But
don't ruin your day. If you can be
no,
open and liberal, then a nice and refreshing
100%.
shower.
And then the other thing that is worth getting is the medal engraving, which happens right there before, just as you leave the runners village. It's you can pay for it on the day. It's super quick to do, and they just laser print your laser etch your time onto your medal straight away, and it's a really nice job. They do it really nicely. They put your name and your finish time, so that's worth doing. And I think I queued for about half an hour last year just to get to the desk, and once I was there, it took 30 seconds to do.
That's great. That's really good.
Yeah,
And once you then get through to the other side, you want to see your friends and family. There
yeah.
is, as always, a family meeting point, which the one for Berlin is in front of Paul Loeb House. And
Mm.
then typically you go for the first letter of your last name. We always say with these things, sometimes it's so overcrowded, and depending what letter you are, it's often easier to just decide in advance to meet your
Yeah.
friends and family somewhere
Where
else.
you're gonna go
I've yet
meet.
to find one where it's truly worth it. I think maybe London, because actually that's kind of like, because it's such a big stretch out space and people go where they want, I think it almost becomes like a social spot.
Yeah.
But a lot of the races, I think it's not so far away as some of the others. So do at your will, but yeah, it's not, that's often easier just to find a other place,
I think that's fair. Yeah. Yeah. Um,
but it's there
do you
if you
want
need
to
it.
talk quickly about the water stations
Yes,
situation?
absolutely. So we talked about Marathon Expo is Brita sponsored, so you're going to find some Brita water on the course as well, and as well as some other water sponsors. But you've got water at 5 km, 12 km, 17.5, 22.5, 27.5, 32.5. 34.5, 38, and 40. So they really are, obviously you've got 5 km to start, then the 12 km, they're bit gaps, but then as you get further in, they're coming quicker and often, basically.
5K, every 5K or so, and
Yeah.
then it starts to get after 32.5K, it gets 2K between those ones, etc. But there is also water, fruit, tea, and Morton's drink mix
Yeah.
160 at 9 kilometers, 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers, 30 kilometers, and
Yeah.
36.
This is why, so the water is actually less spread out than people think, because you've got like the
Because
official, but you have other opportunities in between.
because you've got stuff in between there, exactly right. So if they're not offering the water stations are just the plain water stations, but there are water stations in between then. So actually, there's quite a few water. There's quite a few. You're never more than 5K before you have some sustenance or some water of some sort,
Yeah,
and
and
that's
they're
going.
all served in cups, these ones. But as we mentioned, you can have your hydration vessel system, so you
Yeah,
can also refill those.
yeah,
And the refill stations are available at all of the aid stations
yeah.
and also at the last table. So if you need a refill point rather than just a cup, it's on the last table of those water spots,
I
and
thought that
there's
was
a refill sign.
That's right. I thought it was great actually. A couple of times where I mean, I've always run with Tailwind, so run up there with a bottle and they just literally get these jugs or they've got hoses and they just literally fill it up for you straight away, and it's really, really efficiently done. There is only one
Yes.
gel station.
Which is yeah, we were talking about this prior to the episode, weren't we? And we're kind of in the mind, like if you're gonna be the big old sponsor for the gel, we want to see more of you, not less of you.
I
One
mean,
one is, I think, on the tighter side.
one gel station at 27.5 kilometers. It's too late in the race. There's not enough of them. So take your own. I'm a bit annoyed at this actually because
Hmm.
Morton's has become, if you look at Morton's in the US races, I mean, Boston's very generous with
Yeah.
it. I mean, last year, Diger and I got to this gel station and we were saying, like, we were almost saying the year before there was no, they'd run out of gels. And last year I was surprised to see that they had actually got some gels. But what's the word we looked up earlier? Hauptbahnhof.
Yeah, Hauptbahnhof, but essentially our version of half-assed.
It's a bit half-assed, actually. It's just so disappointing to see. You've elbowed your way into being the sort of, nutrition sponsor, right? Just turn up. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Just turn up and do you and be, this is a bit half-hearted in terms of Morton's getting their name on the billing, but actually not doing enough for runners. Now I know we always say take your own, etc. And there is the option to actually take your own.
Yeah, we'll come on to that for
We'll
sure.
talk about in a minute, but for me, I think it's just a bit unforgivable. It's as bad as Lucasade's two gel stations, three gel stations in London. It's just not enough. It's too late in the race. Two gel stations, and it's like, well, here it's only one at 27 and a half.
Yeah, so that's the only one, so don't miss it. The Morton Gel 100, so make sure it's there. We do say it every race anyway, but absolutely on this one, make sure you bring in your own. Never try anything new on race day, so make sure. And we also, part of the reason is not only just did you ask for these ones early, so these episodes, you have more time for them. You still got time, wait, plenty of time to,
Yeah,
you should be still having some long runs before your race. So please start. This is the coach in me. Please, if you haven't done so already, be really drilling your fueling now. And any long run at this point, you should be fueling it because it's
100%.
you're going significant distances, so you should be fueling it as if you would in the marathon. So
Yeah,
start that now
100%.
and
100%.
get practice with that.
You,
So those are the refreshment side of things, but we'll move on quickly and mention the self-catering, as they call it. So this is still fairly new,
yeah,
where they've brought something in where if you wish, you can bring your own refreshment, so your own fuel to the race, where you can actually deliver your container with your stuff in with your name and bid number at the refreshment point. You're not allowed any glass,
mm,
and you have to do it by 7:45 a.m. in the morning. And that's where basically there's certain spots where you can then pick up your own refreshment. Now, I got asked quite a few times about this and what are my thoughts. One, I haven't actually seen it live in the flesh, but my answer would also depend where you are in the race. If you are uh, earlier on in the race and you're a little bit speedier, that may be a little bit less congested. It could be worth it, but you've also got to think you've got on the day where you want to get your head in the game and be at the start, you've got to go by
yeah.
7:45 to get that in. Is it worth it? And we can't promise what it's going to be like on the day. It's hopefully with another year into this, it's going to be a little bit more organized. Some of the reviews from before was it was a bit carnage. As you
Yeah.
get further back in the race, where you're actually going to have more of the population of the race, it's going to get congested. I
Yeah.
would really, really question if that's worth it.
I saw the tables there and there was lots of like bottles. It looked like, you know, you know what it's like. You've got marathon brain, right? And it
Mhm.
was like looking for a cup was like looking at it was like doing Where's Wally?
Yeah.
And I saw it and I thought, wow, this is I'm glad I didn't bring my own hydration here. Look, if you're at the front of the pack, I would agree with you, Meg, wholeheartedly. You know, if you're that concerned about your own hydration stuff, then fine. But I've just gotten used to running marathons where I'm carrying my hydration and my nutrition together and, using Tailwind and then refilling halfway through
Yeah.
and having it with me. But can you imagine somebody's knocked your bottle off or somebody's picked up your bottle by accident? There's so many things that could go
It's
wrong
so
here.
frustrating. And I think Berlin is already generous in you're allowed your hydration vest, which actually is usually the big problem for a lot of people is they train with that and then they can't have it for the race and they have to work that out. You have it. But they also
Yeah.
have the refill stations. Another thing I suggested as a solution to someone, if you do have your friends and families come in, you can
Yeah.
do that whole switcheroo. I think it would actually be easier often if as long as you're very clear on where you're going to see them on the course, have them with your extra ready and swap it over.
Do you know what? I wrote a spectator guide for one of my friends. Well, for
Hmm.
Emma last year, actually.
Yeah, the
Her
lovely Emma.
family wanted to see where, find places to go and see. And actually the four cheer points, you won't need the last one because the last one's just before the Brandenburg gate. But I pulled together a cheer point strategy for her. One, 7 kilometers at the Reichstag where it's fairly early on in that race and you can spot somebody in the crowd. In 23 kilometers in Kleist Park, where you can actually just go down there just before you get to those three bridges, actually, and
Yeah,
run through Yorkstrasse.
it's also good distance between them for them to get there in time too.
100%. Then a last minute boost around Potsdam before you get to Potsdamer Platz as well. Or you could go even earlier in that quieter spot down in like 32, 33 kilometers. It's a case of just being strategic about where you're placed and where you might need that extra energy or a gel or whatever it is that in terms of your nutrition and hydration. So
Yeah.
you could actually, I think it's a smart idea to actually utilize your family to be your support crew on the day.
For sure. So use that as an option. Just be extra clear where they're going to be, because again, if you're relying on that, you want to
Yeah,
make sure they're where they are. And what I would say is, well, on the day, these trackers can be slightly behind, etc. So whatever
yeah,
the strategic plan is of spreading them out, try and make it so they're going to get there earlier, even if they have to wait for you for a bit, just so they don't accidentally miss you.
100%, 100%.
Would be the advice
Um,
there. Weather, should we mention
oh,
that?
be prepared for anything. I
Yeah.
mean, we have not had a cool. One of my favorite races I've done this year, Meg, was Geneva Marathon,
Hmm.
and it was light drizzle for the first half of the race, and it was light drizzle. Actually, it was for the whole of the race. It was sort of light drizzle, and it was absolutely wonderful. And then the Riga Marathon was generally cool, all the way around, and they were joyous races to have. But all of these other races that I've run, Berlin has just gotten hotter and hotter and
Yeah.
hotter. And I
I
don't want to
mean,
scare people. I
no,
don't want
no,
to scare
the thing
people.
is, people are always asking about the weather for any race, and I actually find Berlin one of the hardest because traditionally you just can't really call it. Like,
No.
well, as we know, I attract heat waves, so my race was quite a warm one when I did Berlin. It certainly wasn't ridiculous, but it tends to usually, I'd say more often, be like a nice day, and is all right. But then you can get these really hot ones, you just don't know.
I think 2019 was actually the last reported cool one where it rained on race day.
Yeah.
So I ran it in 21, 22, 24, 25, and I'm running it in 26. And every year it's gotten warmer. Last year I said it was the Berlin Inferno, and I think you've just got to be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
And the biggest piece of advice that I would give to anyone is just adjust your race strategy
Yeah.
according to the conditions. Now, I know it's tough when you've been working so hard for 16 weeks and you've been trying to run in this temperature here as well. Whereas a lot to be said for thermal loading and getting used to it, not avoiding the heat, but actually embracing it and getting out there and getting your body used to running in those higher temperatures. And you do that thermal loading over a few weeks. And Garmin's actually got a feature saying, what is your thermal loading percentage?
Hmm.
Which, and I think it was Running Channel who gamified it a while ago, which was quite interesting to do.
Hmm.
Um, and then I've run some cool days, and it's now dropped back down from 30% down to 15% or something. So it's quite disheartening. So it
You're
can
like,
work in
damn
your
you.
favor. It can
But
work against you as well.
yeah, but I mean, if you're in the UK, actually, the one positive, there's not been many about this brutal summer, is actually you're more prepared than ever for a hot Berlin. I think where a
Yeah,
lot of people struggled in the past is we are used to having a couple of weeks
yeah,
of heat, but most of our training's in the cool. Um,
yeah.
I don't think and the heat does feel different in these areas. I think you'll be less shocked to the system on the day. Doesn't mean if it is a hot one, it's not going to be hard. But from a coaching point of view, because I get asked a lot about pace, etc., I think the best tip, because Yimmy was absolutely spot on earlier, being like, be willing to adapt. But a lot of people be like, what does that mean though? And like, where I see a lot of people make mistakes is so many people have Berlin is a PB race, right? Most people set out
Yeah.
to be a PB, whatever race they do, but this particularly. And when it's a really hot day, a lot of there's going to be a huge chunk of people. We saw this in London for the hot one a few years ago, where they're not willing to drop the PB and they end up in trouble. We have
Yeah.
other people be like, okay, cool, I got advised to adjust my race. So if I was going to run X pace, I'll drop it by 30 seconds a thing. But still, it doesn't tell you what your body's actually going through and feeling. So one of my
That's right.
best advice is this, and it's good to start just having that on your watch and being aware now, is that is when if it is a really hot race and you're struggling, switch to zones where, for example, if early on
Smart.
in the race you can see you're already in zone 5, which is 90 to 100% of your heart rate, you know already there is no way you can keep that up for 26.2 miles. You will
100%.
be in a whole load of doom later on. So if you can just keep an eye on that, even if you're not willing to let your pace go at the start, make sure you're not going over zone 4 and you're trying to keep it low early on would be my
That's it.
biggest advice.
Really smart. I mean, it was heartbreaking to see people needing CPR on the course, right? And I don't want to scare people.
No, that if you're sensible, there's absolutely no reason
No
that's going to
need.
be
There's
used.
no need for it, right? Now, I'll share this. My fastest marathon time was in Copenhagen 2 years ago, and I ran it in 4:26. My first marathon I ran in 5:49:44, and and that was my first marathon. Berlin last year was like 30th marathon or something. No, 27th marathon or something. And I ran 5:59:39. I ran my slowest marathon on the fastest course,
Hmm.
right? And I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute. That I ran my slowest ever marathon. I was 21 seconds under 6 hours on the fastest course there is in the majors. And I'm thinking, I might, and you know what? I'm really okay with that
Yeah.
because I knew when we started and I was struggling at 5K, I was thinking, good God, this is hard today. And I completely adjusted my goals, and it was just survival. And lucky for me, it started cooling down. It peaked at 29 and it started cooling down at halfway, and I found my legs, and then Diger then started to struggle, and then I started my turn to support her, and we got each other through the race. And and I actually said, I don't care what time I finish in.
Yeah.
And now I know if it's your only race and it's your A race, then that's really hard to let go. But actually come back and fight another day with another race is my advice,
Yeah, and
because it's not worth risking your health for it.
it's not, and it is really, really hard when that's your PB and you've been setting out for that. But that's where if you could still have a really fast, strong race potentially. That's where if you can switch to that zone training, that is going to, actually, I can
Mm,
have a strong thing there. Then when you're actually getting closer to the end, that's when you can make that judgment of right now I can really push it. But
100%.
adjust if it's, and I'm talking about if it's really hot, as I say, if it's manageable, keep an eye on your pace, maybe then adjust the pace slightly and see how you get on. If you can, but keep an eye on that zone. If you
Yeah.
see that's in zone 5 early on, you're not going to sustain that for the race. So
Yeah.
that's where the faster you can actually change that strategy and keep yourself in a good place, the more likely actually you're going to have a faster and better time that day than trying to force it at the pace would be my advice. And then when you're closer to the end, that's where you can then decide, have I got enough in the tank to push it?
100%.
So that is the full-on answer there to our weather question. Did I feel like we've covered everything? Is there anything we've missed, Jimmy?
I don't think so. I think we've been pretty comprehensive in this particular
Yeah,
episode. Got
this is a
really
big old
excited.
episode, so you're
I
welcome for
know.
your long runs. We always say, Yimmy at the start was like, "Do you reckon Will might accidentally beat last time?" I was like, "I don't think that's a problem with us, Yimmy." These are probably not PBs we should aim for, but
But this is all, I mean, people can use the chapters, right? But
yeah,
the key thing here is to give much useful information so people can feel prepared for the race. I'll be there this year. I'll be
yeah,
standing in front of that big screen in the start line area looking for people. So if you see me, come and say hi. I'll be in my usual race kit. I don't know what my race strategy is yet. I'll know what it's going to be when I know what the conditions are and I know how I feel on race day. So,
yeah.
come and say hi if you're there.
Just not in the urinals. That's the
Just not.
one. That's the one no zone. Or the showers. Anywhere else, he loves it.
Yeah, you won't find me in the showers afterwards.
Yeah, that could be awkward. He's
Oh,
telling you
that
now it's not him. So if you think you found the looky likey, yeah, it's not.
yeah, it's totes orcs. Yeah, I won't be there.
But yeah, enjoy the race, and
Yeah,
and
do.
and all of this stuff is to prepare. That's my new line. It's to prepare, not to scare. And if it's going to be hot, extra Vaseline. Be practicing now with the extra fuel, and then because when you're hot and you're in Survivor, you stop thinking
Yeah,
properly
that's
too.
right.
So decide now what your plan B is going to be and what you're going to do if you can't
Smart.
have that pace. Decide
Exactly.
now because you on the day is either gonna your ego is going to lead the way or actually you just like I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm going to do and you panic. But it's a fantastic race. It's I'd say there's still plenty of chance. You've got really going to have a great day, great weather, and it's an iconic race and it really is setting you up to win in so many ways.
Have fun out there is my biggest advice.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much for your time. All of our contact details are in the episode description for both me and Yimmy. Have the best
Yeah.
time. What I can't remember what the word was again, Yimmy, but don't half-ass it if you're doing it.
Half wasn't
Oh,
it?
that is our word. That might have to be our fourth word to describe, well, not to describe the race, but basically know what to do. And thrive in your own way, right? If you want to go out and do a good time, go for that. Be all hearted about it. But if you want to go and have the best race, don't half-ass it and just soak it all in and be
Soak
curious.
it all in. Just take
Enjoy.
it all in. Be curious.
Be curious. Have the best time, people, and we will speak to you soon.